So I'm convinced that the Sony FX3 is still the best affordable cinema camera on the market. But let me tell you why. We're going to be shooting ProRes RAW with this camera, and we're going to be shooting the internal XAVC with this camera. So let's see what it does. So the Sony FX3 is one of Sony's smallest, compact, full-frame cinema cameras, and it is my personal favorite cinema camera on the market right now. It has all of the pro features you would expect out of the more expensive Cine cameras, and it's all in this nice, compact body. But it still gives you that high-end image quality that you would expect out of the more expensive cameras. So that's why it's become like a go-to favorite for indie filmmakers, YouTubers, documentarians, and basically anybody who wants to get that high-end cinematic quality in their footage without breaking the bank on buying something more expensive or renting something more expensive. You can buy this today and there'd be no rental houses or gatekeepers on your production in terms of your camera body. You can do it all with the FX3. But here's the thing. The FX3 came out in 2021 and there's been a whole lot of releases since then. So the question is, does the camera still hold up today? Well, we're putting the FX3 to test to find out. We have with us two versions of the FX3, a fully rigged cinema setup and a stripped down setup for more run and gun shooting. So the first setup is actually my personal FX3 setup that I use for shooting narrative work, documentaries, and commercials. I actually have this Cine back unit attached to it. It allows me to put a V-mount battery on the back with 4 G-tap options, so I can power up to 4 devices at a time, including the camera itself and the monitor I'm using. This is like just a little extension that really gives it that extra sort of like cinema camera beef that I really find useful. It's on a lightweight shoulder mount, and I've equipped it with Cooke's SP3 lenses made specifically for cameras like the FX3. We're also recording ProRes RAW externally via the Atmos Ninja 5. We're going to be recording ProRes RAW HQ, and we're going to be using these cool Angelbird mini SSDs. You're gonna need these. I use a 1 terabyte card because these are heavy files and they can fill up pretty fast. I think 1 terabyte gives me about 45 minutes of footage. I run with a 1 terabyte and a 500 gigabyte just in case. Our second setup is the camera handheld, making good use of that internal image stabilization. This one is shooting with Sony GM lenses and utilizing the FX3's incredible autofocus abilities. I only started using autofocus after using the FX3. Like, the autofocus on this camera is absolutely remarkable, in my opinion. So the GM lenses paired with this camera are just like, you don't have to worry about focus at all. It's so good, it almost feels like cheating. Yeah, but whatever. And with this setup, we'll be recording internal XAVC 4K SI 10-bit 422. For recording the internal XAVC footage, we're using a 128 gigabyte SD card. It's a V92. And we're going to be comparing that footage to the raw footage from the other FX3. Okay, don't look at this. I'm just going to go right in your face. So for this first setup, we have our actors lit to give us some contrast. I'm shooting this with both setups, and we're gonna keep the same exposure, the same ISO, and the same S-Log3 color profile. So one thing Sony nailed with the FX3 is skin tone rendering and highlight roll-off. This full-frame sensor paired with 14 plus stops of dynamic range yields a beautiful image in several lighting conditions. When shooting ProRes RAW, skin tones benefit from 16-bit linear output compressed to 12-bit RAW. So considering this, I think we're gonna see better highlight roll-off in the RAW footage, but we're also taking into account how lens choice affects the image. The Cooke SP3s may have a softer contrast and creamier bokeh than the Sony GM lenses, which are known to be a bit sharper and a bit more clinical. Next, we're going to see how the FX3 handles natural light. We're positioning for strong backlight, flaring, and harsh highlights. So the FX3 definitely handles strong contrast well with the full frame sensor and the wide exposure latitude. It handles these little flares and little bits of highlights really well, and you have a lot of room to play with, honestly, with both formats, the RAW and the XAVC. But the big bummer with shooting outside with the FX3 particularly is that it doesn't have built-in ND filters. A lot of people look at that as a cinema camera must, so it's really weird that the FX3 doesn't have that. But considering everything else it has, and all the benefits you get from it, it's not a huge heartbreaker. I've learned to live with it. I think I've learned to forgive the FX3 for that, for not having internal NDs. Both the GM lenses and the Cooke SP3s have filter threads on the front of the lenses, so we were able to attach variable NDs. This helped us just match exposure with both cameras when we were shooting. So looking at our videographer setup built for solo shooting, the FX3's top handle XLR unit is super helpful. I mean, we had a shotgun mic attached to the top and a lav mic attached going into the second input. So it's pretty much perfect for solo shooters who are capturing audio and video at the same time. And talking about that autofocus again, you have that real-time eye autofocus and subject tracking, and even at wide open apertures, Sony's autofocus stays sharp. And if you're going handheld or on the shoulder like in our tests, the active stabilization smooths it out just enough. My brother and I shot some footage in our parents' backyard in New Jersey, just as the sun went down. That's our dog Sadie. She's super cute, she's super old. Basically, we had both setups and they're both at ISO 12,800. 12,800 is actually a base ISO for the FX3. So when you switch to 12,800, you're not just cranking the gain, you're switching to the FX3's secondary sweet spot. Come check this out. So the ProRes RAW files are gorgeous and huge. Internal 10-bit XAVC is a fraction of the size and still holds up extremely well when paired against the raw footage. That being said, you really should use a proxy workflow either way to make sure that playback is smooth. So for shoots where I know we're gonna do some deep color grading and we're really gonna push the image, I'll favor shooting in ProRes RAW. But for stuff where I need a quicker turnaround, even videos like this, I'm just gonna shoot the internal XAVC format and honestly do most of my color grading right in Premiere instead of bringing it into DaVinci Resolve. This is just because the XAVC files are quicker, smaller, faster, and easier to work with. So I'll favor those files for lighter lift projects. But for more precious stuff, or stuff like I said, where we're really diving deep into the color grading process and we want as much control as possible, I'm gonna favor the ProRes RAW for sure. So for me, it's a resounding yes. This camera is still worth buying today, right now, especially with used prices dropping below $3,500 often. You're getting pro-level image quality in a camera that you can fit in your backpack. Just rock with whatever Sony EMAT lenses you have and the top XLR handle, add a lav mic and a shotgun mic and maybe an external monitor, and you're ready to go. You can do a whole video just with that setup right now. If you add that external recorder and the right lenses, then you're getting Sony Venice comparable footage at a tenth of the price. I know it doesn't have the internal ND filters, I know it doesn't record RAW internally, but if you combine this with the right pieces, you can get an incredible image and you can run a whole shoot just off this one camera. And I know that because I've literally done it. Now, all that being said, if you need built-in ND filters or SDI outputs, maybe the FX6 is a better fit for you. Or if you want the same color science in a smaller package, there's the FX30 or the new FX2. Either of those might be your move. But what do you think? Is the FX3 still at the top of the game? Let us know in the comments. I'm Justin with MPB. Thanks for watching.